know it's No Ideas Original.
Welcome to the No Ideas Original Podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, and Ken. Episode 197. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
197, son.
Good. Yeah, I know. Coming up on 200. We probably should try to figure out something special to do for 200.
For a 2 Billy, right? 200. Listen, man. We still trekking. And I like that. I like the fact that, neither here nor there, we're going to find a way to get something done and put something up or build some content or do something. And we're moving, bro. Our project was pretty decent.
Mm-hmm. No. We can't undersell and say it was pretty decent. It was actually really good.
I'm being modest. Yeah. But all right. Let me leave my modesty out there. That shit was hot, goddamn. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. That shit, it did crazy numbers. It did do some numbers. It did some nice numbers, bro.
Mm-hmm. If you haven't heard it, make sure you go stream it. Nostalgia, No Ideas Original presents Nostalgia Volume 2 is on all streaming platforms.
Shout out to everybody involved. Promise. I mean, there's so many people we got involved in that joint. It turned out to be a real good project, bro.
Sure, that's a fact. Yeah, I feel like we haven't had an episode in just a minute where it's just us just talking without incorporating guests. So this is pretty good that we can have a opportunity to just just build without having guests involved. So we got a couple of interesting topics to talk about. We're going to talk about the election, which everybody is still talking about. We're going to talk about there was a post on Instagram about a young lady proposed a Black Project 2025. I know everybody's heard about Project 2025 because that's all they talked about throughout the news cycle, and it was weaponized against Donald Trump to no avail. And then we're going to talk about the fight that wouldn't stop buffering Mike Tyson and Jakepaul. And then we'll talk about, if you're from the Northeast, you probably realize there hasn't been a lot of rain in a long period of time, which has caused some wildfires and droughts. So let's get right into it and talk about the aftermath of the 2024 presidential election. A lot of people woke up the day after the election and felt hopeless and shocked and confused,
let down, disappointed.
Yeah, I got some funny stories on that. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I just my observation of the election, it was like as it was leading up and building up to the election. I don't know about y'all, but I was like, damn, I'll be happy when this is over. Like regardless, I was like, I'll be happy when this is over. I've never felt so much division, in my life as it relates to politics. And I recall, growing up where there was division, where there are people, they were conservatives, some people were Democrats or whatever it is, but never to the point that it became so contentious that people were at each other's throat this way. You may every now and then get somebody be like, yo, I can't stand George Bush or whatever it is. But, but it now is just on a whole nother level of just the smear associated with it, like people wishing death on their political opponents, people talking about sexual affairs that people had while they were, in office and all that. And I'm just like, yo, it's very, very disturbing. It's just a whole different.
I can tell you this, bro. It sure enough was quiet out the election. If you didn't fear the eerie silence, social media, phones wasn't ringing, there wasn't no alum parties, there was no ticker tape parade after this election, and the energy changed in the room. A lot of disappointment, a lot of letdowns, and what it said to me was, and me and my man B. Loud would say, whispers. All you heard was whispers. Now, mind you, right? Maybe you guys can contest to this. Since I've been living any presidency, what has really changed in any presidency in my life that has affected my life that I know about, stemming from Jimmy Carter all the way to now, that I can say, it was that policy or that event or that thing, maybe with the exception of 9/11. We can go into that, on a different note. And that was under a Republican. So what has it that's changed much in my life from a presidency standpoint that I either took advantage of or it left me at a disadvantage? I don't know. I just know that whatever president was in there, you still had to buy them eggs. You still had to pay gas. Your rent needed to be paid on time. You still had to get up and go to the bus, whether the fare was increased or decreased. You've managed to get through it, whether whoever was in office. And to see the contention that you're talking about was very like, wow, people are really on it. I mean, some people are really. I have people chiming on me about other people and be like, yo, are they really doing what they're doing? I'm like, listen, that's their opinion about it, and that's how they feel, man. I'm not sitting here. I don't get into no arguments about politics and religion. But let's say this about politics. Pardon me. Let me just say this about politics, especially about left wing, right wing. Let's look at that work. Let's look at that real quick. Left wing, right wing. The only thing that got a wing is a fucking bird. So that's the American eagle. So there's two wings of the same bird, regardless of who you're voting for or who you're in line with. You're still going to be in this country. You're going to have to be let going into this country, whether it's Republican or Democrat. They're going to end up doing some bipartisan team up shit because it's two wings of the same bird. You got to fly. If I'm making sense of that. And I didn't think, I know people in their feelings, we got a white supremacist and, this guy doesn't like women. I'm going to be honest. There hasn't been any protection for women before Trump was here. And white supremacy and white supremacy has been here before we was here.
That's true.
We managed to be here and still be here and still push through. So, all right, you don't like who's in office. But let's look at representation. Just real quick. You know when I knew it was over? When Glorilla gets on the stage. Cardi B gets on the stage. So I'm saying to myself, oh, you're reaching out to the younger crowd. Followers, influencers, content, all of that, making a stallion. But then Trump gets a spade and he throws Elon Musk, the richest nigga on the planet, is his representation. I said they're playing games with people's minds. This is all an emotional popularity contest. Who can bring out the biggest popular stunt for you to pay attention to? The media wants to play the emotions, and it works. Because I tell you, social media was. You heard nothing. You ain't hear a burp, a fart, a cough, a sneeze, nothing, because people were in their feelings because Kamala didn't win. But let's say she did. What were we to expect?
I mean,
same silence.
This is a little different though, because I can tell you why, right? So, for one thing, people have nothing. If they want to become a little aware, they have nothing to blame but themselves, because voter turnout, you got to show up to do it. We point to different demographics, but the numbers of people who actually showed up to vote wasn't. It seemed like a lot, but the people who needed to, or the people who felt like they wanted something different, didn't show up. So that's one point. And then when you look at like you're talking about politics and how it affects you, this is a little different though. You know why? In every presidency that you've seen the people on the cabinet and stuff, those were professional politicians, people who know about their fields, people who, although they may be on one side or the other, they know what the doomsday situation is. Like, there wasn't a lot of, there's somewhat personal interest, but it wasn't all driven by personal interest. So now you got a guy offender trying to lead. You got a criminal trying to lead the DOJ, the Department of Justice, being led by a guy that's a criminal. You got another guy that he worked on Fox News. His experience is Fox News. Now he's going to be in charge of the Treasury. He worked on the weekend. Nobody watched this show. You got another dude that he's getting a fictitious position for efficiency, that he had some of the worst records where we'll say racism and bad work practices in the entire country at Tesla. You got I could keep going. You got a ton, like this is the Robert Kennedy as the health czar. This dude right here was an unbelievable vaccines dumping alligators in Central Park. So you got a whole host of, none of these people are politicians and none of them know the jobs. You got guys with all types of plans and stuff. And I understand that there's some concerns about different things with immigration, but We're gonna mobilize the military. The guy who's running it said he don't know what the budget is. Planes. He don't know what. This just seems like chaos.
So,
And I can tell you how the rest of the world sees us, because you're gonna laugh at this, right?
A reality show, probably.
I basically voted early because I was gonna be out of the country. I'm out of the country, right? I wake up in the morning and I think it was in France, right? And I go to a place to eat, right? So the gay automatically, every place you go, they can recognize an American. You know what the guy says? The guy goes, "Trump won. You can stay here."
Wow. that was his response, right?
Yeah, that ought to tell you what the rest of the world thinks of what happened here. So,
well, let me say this. Let me say this. So, like what Ra was saying about how presidents directly impact us. To me, I've believed for the longest that the direct impact that we feel is usually felt when you look at local elections.
Yeah,
like our local elections impact us far more. Where I think that presidential selection has impact is when you start talking about Supreme Court justice appointments and stuff like that. Now, to me, I still can't understand why a Supreme Court justice should have a life term. I think that they need to put term limits in place for that instead of having somebody appointed to the highest court in the land, and then they could basically stay there until they die or they decide that they're gonna retire. To speak to the part around the Glorilla and the popularity contest stuff, there's almost like an old cliche that people say about elections have consequences, right? So usually when a person is elected and they get into the White House, then you begin to have a political dossier or resume to run on that people can challenge you on. And that's honestly what got Trump out the first time. So now if you look at Kamala and you look at Joe Biden, like they had a number of different things against them. They had the immigration stuff against them. They had inflation that they were dealing with. They had the stuff about funding Ukraine. And the number one reason though why you saw Glorilla, Cardi B, and you saw all these other people up there is because previously liberals relied heavily on getting the young voter, the young college voters to turn out and everything. But if you look at the news cycle for probably the last couple of years or the last year or so, the young people in schools have been protesting because they feel very strongly about what's going on with the Palestinians. So you got to try to figure out, all right, so how do I mobilize? How do I reinvigorate the people who were once my base? And I think that this was their last ditch effort to try to say, like, all right, we didn't get the ceasefire, but we got a Glorilla concert that's going to rock your world. blow your
to his credit, Trump went out and recruited like Sexy Red and different people
Chef G and all these other people.
But I was her campaign manager, bro.
And Kodak Black. So he had his contingency of foolishness too.
So I say all that to say, like, I don't I don't condemn anybody for whoever they vote for, because my opinion around it is that I think that you should vote your interests and whoever's policies you do think would impact you and make you have a better life. I hear a lot of people talk about how they felt the economy thrived and how they performed and did better under Donald Trump. But to your point, Rob, I don't know if I saw a difference in my paycheck, my taxes, or anything when Donald Trump was in office. Like it really wasn't different for me at all. So but maybe it was different for whoever went out and voted for him or thought he was the candidate.
It's an image that's carried with him that people don't want him in a position of power. People are, I won't say judging a book by its cover, because in the book there's some racy pages in the book too. You know what I'm saying? So he's not of question. But like any other president, he may not be he's probably the only, he might be the criminal, but he's the criminal that got caught. That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Let's not take none of these other guys off of the chopping block. Even our good brother, he probably got some shit under his nails too. It's just it's been the nature of being a politician. You know what I mean? So, we can call a man, and I'm not pro Trump at all. I'm not I'm pro life. What I mean by that is that, when you get up every morning, you're blessed to get up every morning, do something with the time that you have and don't waste it. You know what I mean? Because either one, whoever's in office, you're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to pay your bills. You're gonna have to pay gas. If it go to $7 and you doing Uber, that means your Uber prices go up. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to make do. Maybe you're gonna have to buy half a carton of eggs instead of a dozen. Maybe that'll lower your cholesterol. I don't know. You're gonna have to diversify your shit.
You got to figure nobody's wrong all of the time. Like there's some validity to certain things. Like even in this election cycle, like you talk about the young people and stuff, there was opportunities if they really want to get it to not double down on bad policy. Like people ask you about immigration and you double down. What would you do differently? Nothing. So if you got a guy that's got an unfavorable opinion by people and then they ask you what you would do and you say you would change nothing, that's a story. That tells you the story right there.
Yeah, but you know what the flip side of that is that people become so invested and overly committed to their opinion that if they don't keep going with it, they begin to feel like, all right, what I initially planned was, it was wrong, it was a failure. And you see that now, or whatever, like the political backtracking. You look at the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, all of a sudden he has a different position on immigration, but this dude was very much
he turned into a whole different
and
guy.
Now so it's like, I can't take you serious at that point, because I'm like, yo, you're a political fart in the wind. You just blowing all over the place. whatever's popular, or you trying to get a pardon or whatever.
I think he benefits. Yeah.
Like the to be honest with you, like even the stuff around the immigration part or whatever, it's the challenge that they have is that this country was built on immigration, on legal immigration.
Yeah.
Right. And they pitched it for so many years about this is the land of hope and all these different things or whatever, but once it became mass illegal immigration, and then you had the media kind of right-wing conservative media spin it as that all the crime that's going on in the country is by the migrants and stuff like that or whatever. Not a lot of people aren't going to do their research and actually look at what the crime is and who's actually committing the crime. It's just key buzzwords that they could throw out, like this. These are the people that are committing the crimes. These are the people that you need to be mindful
eating
of.
Cats.
And then
there's some assumptions being made based on names people.
But here's my thing about the immigrants. I actually think that the migrant stuff, people would have probably had less resentment towards it if they actually did more to take care of the people in this country.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
Sir.
And I think that's where I think that a lot of people became disenchanted with the Democratic Party this election, because they're like, all right, you didn't follow through on 100% getting loan forgiveness for student loans, but you gave Ukraine all this money in aid. You're giving all this money for migrants, and you're doing all these different things or whatever. And here you have somebody who else comes along and they talk about, he's basically saying America first. And people that resonates with a lot of people.
Just because I know
people here are struggling right now. So
the Biden-Harris administration spent $66 billion on immigrants, on bringing them over here, and $3 million on veterans. That's the reason why Trump went pro-America. You're not thinking about the veterans. You're not thinking about Social Security. You're not thinking about the elderly.
I mean, I don't think he is either, though, because veterans been getting that forever. Social Security is on the brink of destruction.
This is political pickleball, son. You say that, I'm gonna play off of that.
Yeah, because we listen right now. The guy in his own admissions talking about he don't know where the funding and the money's going to come to do all these migrations. So we about to spend $66 more billion to get him to leave.
I mean,
gas is going to be $7, and
the math
Uber is going to be $2.
People going to profit from this, because you got to remember, in the interim, to get the people to move, or not to move, to leave, privatized prisons and stuff like that are going to be the places that's housing them. So there's going to be some rich people getting richer, because you're not going to be able to contain or just pick people up and they're not going to be from the Bronx to the plane.
Yeah, they're going to be in holding pens and holding cells and locations like that, and get lost in the system and never find their way out. And where they going to go? What family they going to reach out and be like, yo, I'm in Attica somewhere. Can you come Send
Well,
me.
they deporting the whole family. He said if you legal or not or whatever, if you don't want to be here, you want to go, we're gonna deport everybody, family, legal citizens, and everything.
Zane is on IG. Zane said Trump played a
What's up,
good card game. The Latin Americans voted for Trump, but their family is the ones that's going to be getting deported in game. I mean, you know what? There's also another misconception that, you know, a lot of migrants here are solely people from, you know, Latin American descent or, you know, Latin descent, but that's not necessarily the case. Like there are a lot of people, you know, from other places here. All you got to do is just, you know, you go down to the city, go into New York City, you'll see. So, but that's been in place for me.
Bro, let me tell you something. Where I'm residing right now, there's an influx of Ukrainians, bro. I mean, I walked out my door, I thought I was in Burgerskloff or something. Like you just language. I'm like, yo, I'm seeing yellow and blue everywhere. Like, it's a lot of them, son. Oh wow. But this is America. From all walks of life come here to make their lives better. So it's part of the fabric of the country, man. You know, migrants come here because they wanna get from where they are, and they wanna just work. They want to have
a better life.
Life.
Well, we pitched that. We pitched that. That's our messaging to the world. What are you guys thoughts on tariffs?
Yeah.
What are you guys thoughts on tariffs? Do you see tariffs as a way for the this country to generate money, or tariffs is going to further cause even further more inflation?
I think it's going to cause more, but I think they already outsmarted us because we tried this playbook before, and a lot of people don't realize, like Toyota Camrys, a Japanese company, are mostly manufactured in the United States. BMW X5s, BMW 530s are manufactured mostly in Alabama. So what happens is when you do this, they build the plants here and employ us. So you actually hurting people and hurting the jobs because we're the leading manufacturer. Although the company itself is owned by other countries, the manufacturing arm where all the people are employed are in the United States. So what happens when you do that is now these cars don't sell. You put these tariffs on and stuff like that, just using cars as example, and people lose their jobs. So it looks good from the optics to say, you know, we're keeping companies out, we're raising the cost, we're saying we're doing this, but ultimately they got a little smarter and affect us because, again, in the land of capitalism, we'll sell anything to anybody. So
yeah, man, there's a lot of e-commerce.
They want to go ahead and make the cars here. We're gonna sell them the land and let them do it.
So what happens? All right. So what do we think that the response to us issuing a tariff is that they're not going to issue tariffs to us? Like that they're gonna we basically gonna say like, all right, there's a tariff on the goods that we import from you, but they're not going to issue a tariff on us. The same thing, like the common sense thing is to pass the cost off.
Yeah, they're gonna pass the cost off.
To the consumer, right? So, and most like something at a basic level, like a pair of sneakers or whatever, like all them sneakers are manufactured in Asia, you know, China, Taiwan, whatever it is, they all manufactured over there. So you could potentially go from a pair of sneakers that was $75 to now being $125. They gotta pass the cost off to the consumer.
Yeah, you know, we're the biggest consumer nation too, so it affects us more than them. They don't do as many exports as we do. So. Yeah, there's no GM plants in China.
Yeah, it's the next. It's honestly, no, I don't know if anybody's interested in American car. I don't know.
You can't sell them anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody wants the Ford Edge and
I tell you, they got Elon Musk is the new darling. I tell you that he's like Derek Jeter in the Republican Party right now, bro.
He's making out. Because his competition can't get in the country now. Like you ever see the level of electronic cars that they have like in China?
It's Teslas everywhere now. Like people are going out and buying Teslas like they're free.
What's his competition here as far as an electrical vehicle market?
Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because I thought about that the other day, and didn't the current administration, didn't they have something in place where they were saying they wanted all car manufacturers to manufacture only electric vehicles come 2025?
Yes, sir. Remember
I would imagine that somehow, some way that mandate is going to go away. Because if that mandate goes away, then Elon Musk who is he competing with for electric vehicle? I mean, other cars, they make electric models, but who else is what's the most popular American model? Like, I never have I heard somebody be like, yo, I'm really looking forward to getting that new Toyota electric car
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah,
you know.
no, not at all.
That electro Ford.
But electric vehicles no longer exclusive. If every vehicle on the road manufactured post 2025, that means everybody would have to go out and buy an electric vehicle. Buying an electric vehicle now is a choice.
Right. But they're gonna promote it in a way, and that's the reason why they're putting him so much in your face now, and Trump had him as a representation up there because they want a sort of a technocracy. They want people to buy into technology and AI and the way the country is going. The way the country wasn't going wasn't the face of Miss Harris. And like I said, there's no knock to her, but they didn't see any potential in what she was pushing and where the country was going, and that her idea where the country needed to go, that's not what the boys upstairs was looking for. They want Tesla to be in there. They want the market to move that way. They want that energy and that currency and moving and that capitalism to work that way. And they got the right man for it. He's the richest guy. He's gonna watch SpaceX go through the roof. Everyone's gonna want to go to Mars.
I'm gonna tell you what's weak though. What was real weak, and I kind of feel bad that a lot of people bought into it. Like there were some narratives that were put out that I was like, I can't get with the like. Well, she's been in office for 4 years. What has she done now? Whatever. Like we all know what policy the vice president put forward.
What was Joe Biden doing? Nothing.
Yeah, it's like
that's just in case the guy dies or something.
Yeah, it's like, come on, like that's like saying with the assistant coach, like what play you grew up as the
Like get up there, you in the front
assistant coach job or whatever, like come on. That was one narrative. That was one narrative, and then the other part around, well, she really ain't black. And to me, it's like if she black or not, or what, or
that black in you black. That's
but you see what we was doing? We playing all of these games and these image games to stir people up and just to rile the crowd, bro. While someone's blowing, saying there's a fire in the room. While people running that way, the smart people got their backs up and they go, ain't no fucking fire. You're running because you're fools, bro.
We seen that playbook though, because remember Barack wasn't a citizen. Barack wasn't a citizen, so we seen that playbook before. Like the sad part about it is that our government is turning into the same way you see in third world countries.
Yeah,
it's literally the same thing now.
That's kind of my fear, honestly, aware of the direction it's going. I don't know if you guys have opportunity to see online. The young lady who did the TikTok proposing a Black Project 2025. And she was talking about, like the bringing together Black engineers, Black doctors, Black attorneys, buying Black, everything Black. I think it's an amazing idea, and we saw that before in the form of a Black Wall Street kind of thing. I wonder though, and I wonder because one of the things that I struggle with personally, when especially in the vein of talking about politics, people always talk about, well, what are they specifically going to do for Black people? I think as a collective, as Black people, I don't know if we've come up with what we actually want as Black people.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
Aside from reparations, that's the only thing that people and I think that right now. I would love for them to do something around reparations, but I feel like the answer of reparations to a degree to me is kind of low-hanging fruit because people don't have anything. So it's kind of like that's the first thing they reach for, reparations, but then you think about other people, other protected class or whatever it is, they can talk about what it is specifically that they want. Right. Yeah. And they talk about what it is they want. We weaponize the stuff that they want and we say, well, they have an agenda. Like we say it kind of tongue.
Right.
They have an agenda. Meanwhile, they're looking like, we actually do have one.
Yeah, we know
these are the things that we want.
That's
or whatever.
Question, Sha. What do Black people want?
So
we know what we don't want. What do we want?
Well, we gauge what we want off of what other people want, not necessarily what we want. And then our problem, like in listening to what she said, is not necessarily like we always talk about the money part. Our problem is not monetary; it's organizational. Like we don't have the organizational structure within to be able to support an ideal or vision. Because what happens is if you asked 100 people right now what they name the top 5 most important things to them, we probably have a list of 600 different things.
Exactly. Exactly. Because people can't people can't get on one accord around what it is that they want. So, you know, and even if what she's talking about, like think about this or whatever, like black banking or whatever. Like I'm a member of Greenwood Bank, the Killer Mike joint or whatever. But how many people actually are a member? Yeah, how many people are actually members of it? You know, there are a lot of people that
probably even know about it. And
that's true. That's true too.
To both of y'all's points, that's what, when you talk about what black people should want, is a better communication with one another, because we need to start talking to one another so we can find out some shit about some shit. But we're not in the posture to even have a conversation with one another enough to even delve into conversation to find out about the market, to find out how to invest in. Where should I put my money, and what bank is best to put in, and do I get an IRA? Any of that. You got to be in certain environments to have that. But if you're still in the same spot you're at and you don't want to talk to nobody, and communication for you is not the best, you're not gonna find these things out. These things ain't just gonna come off the tree or show up at the corner store. You got to be in an environment where them things is happening.
Well, we have to start thinking more along to we and not me.
And not me.
Yeah, we tend to like look for personal success, and you understand that because of where a lot of people came from, where they want to just achieve on their own. But it gets to a point where you have the wherewithal, the means to be able to help others further advance themselves. The problem is, again, it's like it goes back to, we always hear about crabs in the barrel. Stuff like that. So
that's what I was going to say though. Like also there's an element of trust, but you know what deteriorates the element of trust? This is what deteriorates the element of trust. When you have, and I'm not saying anything about black people working with people of other races, but if you're talking about building a conglomerate of all black business or all black professionals, but then you turn on the news and you see a Tim Scott affiliated with or caping that hard for a Trump or whatever, like even if that's his guy and that's his candidate or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that, it kind of begins to paint like it paints the image in other people's heads, like, okay, so is it all about us as black people? Like, is there one person? Is there kind of like what's the joint that they always have, a mole?
Somebody in
somebody doing Spygate out here.
Yeah, like is there one person that they just kind of sprinkled in there to drop to actually make sure that it's bastardized? Like you'll never actually be able to ever
division,
whatever it is. And then the other part of it is that also to speak to trust. So from the consumer element, and she's like, yeah, we all buy from only black people and this, that, or whatever. Like to me, on the surface, like we always talk about that, and I think that that's a great and a wonderful thing in terms of support. But I don't think that should diminish what we ask for people as a service, right? Like, so if you're if I'm a black person providing a service, you shouldn't be like, I could go to Shannon. I'm gonna go to Shannon and buy his fried chicken, even though it sucked because he a black dude, whatever, just to support him as a black person or whatever. You may do it the first time and spend a block and come back to me and be like, yo, Shannon, your fried chicken, you gotta step your game up or whatever it is, for us to continue to have to have a relationship as a customer and a business owner. And I think sometimes people feel compelled to feel like, yo, because I'm a black person, you should come to support me with, and they have inferior products. Like you got a high caller, you can't pitch inferior products and then hang it on the string for like, yo, but this is black owned, and then feel like people should be compelled to support it. Like my thing is, so then that may be black owned, but it's inferior. I can move to another black owned business or whatever and support them, but it can't constantly be inferior products, and you should support me because I'm black owned.
To add on to that, what's interesting about that too is, on top of the fact, let's say you put out a product that is a quality product, right? Why is it that because you black, you feel like somebody should give you some kind of discount or short? So if I took and made something that cost me $20 and I'm asking you for $30, right? You're gonna try to get me to give it to you for $22 because we black, hook you up. Like when you walk into like traditional stores and stuff like that, you think you're gonna walk into Macy's and be like, "Yo, let me get a deal, hook me up."
Yo,
So
son.
why do I look
What
like
will try?
automatically assume that I'm either ripping you off or should give you some type of deal? Like I shouldn't make money on this too. I mean, we got to be realistic. We want, like you said, we want quality products. We want it for less. I mean, this is great. We could solve the inflation problem right now. Make something for $20 and sell it for $22 or $20.50. There'll be no inflation. You ain't gonna make no money. You ain't gonna survive. But yeah, we got to get out of that. Also, too, like I notice sometimes too when you talk about the quality of products and stuff, it's just weird, like the expectations. So as much as we want to support ourselves, these other brands have like established names, established track records and stuff like that. Me, if I make a product right now, let's say I make a shirt, right, or anything, right, I can't expect that you're going to pay the same price as Louis Vuitton or Gucci or Polo or anything else. So when I ask for it and then you people like, nah, I'm not really interested, you can't really get upset.
No.
And I think that's where people get confused too.
Well,
like,
let me say this. Let me say this,
guys. One of those type of things. You would.
Let me say this. And in all fairness, capitalism says you could say what you could sell it for whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
What you're gonna buy it for is two different things. Like you could put it the price of Louis Vuitton and Gucci or whatever it is, but if people ain't buying it, you know, like it just is what it is, you know, like that to me is like even a bigger issue. Like we've been kind of conditioned to believe that the products of Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and all like the European products or whatever are better products than, you know, some of the products that we could come up with. So you could sell it for whatever it is, you know. And the other thing though that we gotta be realistic with around it or whatever. Like a Gildan shirt is very different than a Louis Vuitton t-shirt.
The quality, is different.
So the quality is very different, whether people want to accept it or not. It is, you know, like some people do price themselves out the game, but it's your business. You set the price, you know. So if I'm making chicken, you know, and I'm selling my fried chicken for, you know, a $25 plate, but the Chinese restaurant down the street is going to give you for $5 25 pieces. Like, yo, am I at that point? Like, you know, what am I doing?
Chicken. That's the
and then you know what's gonna happen, yo. Then I'm gonna go to you, Rob, and be like, yo, you a sellout. You ain't
gonna buy the wings down the block, son. You got my wings is better. I'm like, nah, son, this shit ain't got no paprika in it, son. They got paprika in
it. That's definitely the case. But you got black-owned businesses that's good support of that. Like the guy with Telfar. That's a good example of a business where it seems like they managed to have a market and price it at a good price point where people are comfortable telling they good support. So that's like a real good model. And I watched something this week where they were talking to the guy who created, because he's opening a store this week, and this week on Saturday, the store opens on Times Square.
Okay.
And he was like, basically, he's not changing the prices.
Okay.
So
why should you?
Well, his business model though, his business model was brilliant. Like the business model was exclusivity. Like you had originally those bags were waitlist, and then it helped that he got endorsements and cosigns from Beyonce and, you know, and people like that. Like that's the thing that I think that sometimes kind of gets people in trouble also. Like when you become oversaturated, it loses value. Like even if you step back and you think about like a brand like a Michael Kors or whatever that was, like Michael Kors at one time was viewed as being, you know, like a far more superior brand than what it is now, because it's the availability of it is now increased so much that people are looking at it now like, oh, okay, before we had to go here to get it or whatever, but now it's in Macy's or TJ Maxx or whatever it is, you know. So that, I mean, that's a business decision that Telfar is making. I guess they banking on, you know, we'll keep the bags the same price, but the volume, you know, kind of thing. And that was honestly one of the things that happened with Kanye that a lot of people don't realize also. Like Kanye's last go around at Adidas, Kanye had told Adidas he wants them to make it so that everybody could get a pair of Yeezys, you know. So it went from Yeezys being an exclusive item that every now and then you would see somebody with it, to then you walk down the street and you're seeing like homeless people with Yeezys or whatever, because Adidas, you know, even before they got rid of them, they just had mass inventory of them. They were mass producing them. And that's just simple economics, the law of supply and demand. Like, you know, like when it's low supply, you could run, you could run the numbers up, but when it's mass supply, you can't command but so much for it. But just to circle back around to like the Black Project 2025 thing, like I think that if we could get some great minds in the room and have a conversation and actually get real leadership and get commitment from people, I definitely think that something amazing could be done. And I think that it could. Now here's something to consider. Like I saw somebody saying it, and they were talking about they were talking about, gosh, why is it the other dude who ran for president? He's slipping my mind. That what's his name? The black dude, like who?
Who are you talking about? Obama?
No. In this election, black dude. Why do I always forget his name? Damn it. That how you call it? It'll come back to me in a second as I'm talking. But they were saying like that he always, he always mobilizes around the time, like around the election or whatever. Like he'll rile up like a couple of people, and it becomes more so like siphoning votes off of other candidates. Yeah. But if you have a voice like that, and you have the ability to bring all these other people together, and he's an intellectual, like you should be able to actually use this to create a Black Project 2025. Well, I don't know why his name is escaping me.
Cornel West.
Cornel West. There you go. That's what that Cornel West. Thanks, Dutch. Cornel West. Like, yo, the man is brilliant. He's brilliant, but it's just always kind of like the 11th hour type of thing to mobilize the people. We had a Cornel West, who's somebody who clearly has support. He's a visionary. Yeah, the man is, he's
historian, and there's someone who could definitely get in your ear. And if you want to listen to somebody wise and knows a lot about this country and its policies and how it's been ran for the last 100 years, that's the type of leadership we need, especially in our community. So it could be better aware of what we're dealing with when we're leading with this two wings of the same bird. Remember, we're still in this country, no matter who was in office, still continuing to do what we need to do. Remember, there was President Roosevelt was in office while Black Wall Street was happening. There was Black millionaires going on in the 1920s and 1930s, still with hangings and lynchings. But white supremacy never left, and unfortunately, we have to do a much better job of protecting our women, because when you have a strong woman base, you have a strong nation. Because when you teach a man, you teach an individual. When you teach a woman, you teach an entire nation, because life comes through us. So when you have a strong woman base and a woman base that's following you, and they know the leadership and they're content in what's going on, we're out of this world. But we need to have that foundation, and it starts with leadership. That's a perfect example, Cornel West, because he's a wise guy, bro.
So I got a question on the side of that. So when we talked about it, like being able to do this project and stuff like that, we talked about leaders. Cornel West might be one of the only people that I say that universally Black people were saying, and I'm using that loosely. Universally, Black people will get on board with. How many other people can we even identify that we would consider to be a leader that all Black people, most could get behind?
Ain't that something?
Maybe. I mean, you gotta think like there's the other dudes like Michael Eric Dyson that people, seem to have a lot of respect for.
Anderson. I mean, his voice, especially on economics, you could put him ahead of the Treasury. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's some viable voices out there, but we have to be in the environment and have that communication. Some people don't know that they don't know because they're not in the environment to get this information to their ears. And because of that, they stay in the dark, but they still feel the effects of the world, because these are the people, when they go buy eggs, just 2 weeks ago it was $1.99. Well, why is it $4.99? They're asking the guy at the register, what does he know? He works here. I don't know why.
He doesn't know.
Yeah. Well, Kenyatta, you hitting on a great point though. Like we struggled just now to we came up with 3 names. Yeah. Like that should be an indication of where we are in terms of leadership. Like who out there.
I can't remember, but those 3 names in particular should just galvanize us to think. Like, let's think about who we should have, because there are a lot more people. Yeah.
We are fairly in the know. And it took us time to think of people, and we're kind of in the know. What about the casual person who doesn't, like, who stands out, or how do they, like you said, you can't find them. For us to even get these guys in position to do these things, these would have to be people that are highly visible, that people respect. Right. And some of the people that we even could consider, they would end up being like celebrities and stuff like it.
I was just about to say that you got a better chance of putting Will Smith in charge of Black the Black Project 2025, Will Smith over Claude Anderson. Mind you, financial genius.
Crazy, bro.
No, like it's the popularity. And you know, like even when you think about like the like just the liberal party, Democratic Party in general, like it's very much still an old guard. Like they need new blood. They need and the new blood that they have or that they had, people despise. Like people despise at AOC. Like she's a polarizing figure. Like there are some people that they could get with it, and there are other people that's just like, nah, they don't want to have nothing to do with with her. You know, so it is what it is, though. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, hopefully we could use this next couple of years to come up with an agenda. Like I always put that back on people and say to people, like, all right, so what actually is the Black agenda? Like, what do Black people want? You know, right. And like I say, you know, people gonna be like reparations, because reparations is low hanging fruit, but nothing else. You know, there's nothing else that people could actually come up with. Not the layman's.
Simple. They want reparations to Black is a check in the mail.
But you know something, like people should understand. First of all, the check comes with an admission, so you're never gonna get the check because that's an open admission that something was done wrong. So that's not happening. I mean, you'd be better off striving for things like home loans and free school and things like that, free college, because people might be able to get on board with that. But like you said, a paper check, that's
going probably right back into the same banks that you don't trust anyway.
Well, other people got it. Moving on to the next topic. I don't know if y'all had an opportunity to watch the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. Aside from Netflix,
parts of it
so disappointing, and the fight being disappointing. It really got me thinking about though, like just the whole thing around like legacy though, like you know, like how important is legacy, because we see a lot of people that were our heroes doing things now for money, like people that we idolize, you know, and we thought the world of, doing things for money. And it's almost like everything is kind of for sale. Like, do you think that there's value in legacy? Like is Mike Tyson's legacy tarnished by him losing this fight?
No, I don't think it's tarnished, but I do think people put a different spin on legacy now. It's not something to hone and value the way it used to be. It can be spoke about, it can be glamorized and glorified, but legacy wasn't made to do that. Legacy is to be paid attention to for what you've done, and how long you've done it, and can still do it if you know, God willing. I think that's what legacy pretty entails. It also entails what you leave behind, because money isn't real legacy. You know what I mean? Passing down inheritance isn't legacy. Your character is legacy. And if your children follow that character and your grandchildren follow behind you with that same character, that's true legacy, not, you know, anything monetary. But, you know, here we are in a world where popularity is king, and influencers and followers are the new currency. And because of that, who knows? Mike could be in debt or something. I don't know.
You don't know.
All right, Rob. So here's my next thing or whatever. So who is in charge of monetizing their legacy? Is it okay that Mike Tyson monetized his legacy? Or
he should definitely have his hands on deck with his legacy and those who are around him. Now, we know through history, those who have been around Mike have taken advantage of Mike's legacy, so to speak.
And I think that still may happen too.
You know, they're somewhere.
I think those numbers, the way they adding up, is not exactly right either. But
some people end up finding a loophole, and then
here's where I'm going with this. A lot of people are like, Mike Tyson made $20 million. Anytime you can make $20 million, that's a beautiful thing. Yes, but at the end of the day, what board, what commission said that Mike Tyson was in shape, or that Mike Tyson at 58 years old should be in the ring fighting a professional Mike Tyson looked like he had two left legs. It looked like he had a peg leg on his leg. The dude was fighting with a knee brace on, or whatever, and was winded by the end of the first round. Who thought that was safe?
Yo, the guy that was getting a check like a reparation, bro.
If it's like this, if people will pay, they'll put it on.
So Zane said Mike Tyson held back to abide by their contract, and I see a lot of people online talking about that. Mike, part of the deal was it that Mike couldn't knock him out of this, that. Let's be for real. Let's be. If
Mike
he only doing it in his room, whatever. The reality of it is. From the looks of that fight, it looked like Mike would have got knocked out. What you said, Rob?
His workouts look better than the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, but
nobody in front of you knows.
That's why I said his workouts look better than the fight. Some of the best performances I had, nobody else was in the gym.
The feedback don't hit back.
You know how many home runs I hit off the pitching machine?
Yeah. So like how do we know, as much as you hear about Tyson holding back, you're gonna tell me, look at that fight, you're gonna tell me towards those last rounds, Jake Paul didn't hold back?
That's what I'm saying.
He could have been teeing off on Mike. Mike was available.
So if Mike made the decision that he was going to mortgage his potential, his life, his future, his legacy for $20 million, and he made that decision, we got to respect that. But seeing other people, all I saw was exactly what you said, Rob. All I saw was Mike Tyson getting taken advantage of again. Or whatever. They probably generated. They said the gate alone, I think, did what they said, $18 million. 70,000 people was at that fight.
Yeah, that's
1,000. How many people were watching? Let's not let Netflix off the hook with that.
They did 81 million in views, $81 million or something crazy.
And the shit was buffering. Come on, get out of here.
Zane said Tyson was in that fight. Plus, he was on mushrooms. Tyson was in Tyson. I look.
Ayahuascas.
I think I gave the first round to Mike Tyson. That was to me. I just in good conscience, I wouldn't have cleared him to fight. I just wouldn't have. Like it just.
They let it up. I'm telling you, all of the videos and the trainings pulled people in. He was looking it's Mike, and you just knew Jake Paul was gonna get his head flown. It was gonna get disastrous. And then when it comes on, it's buffering. Like the best fight was the Spanish girl and the Irish girl. That was the highlight of the night.
So hold on. Us believing in legacy too, because we wanted to see Mike be Mike.
Yeah,
but this is the thing. Is it all right? So hold on. Again. Let's be real. Whatever. Let's be real. People may dislike Jake Paul. They may dislike Jake Paul, but in here, and the people in the chat, who in here really thought that Mike Tyson was going to knock him out? Like, oh, this is Mike or whatever. Mike Tyson lost. He's 58 years old. Mike Tyson, the last couple of people Mike Tyson lost to, name them real quick.
I know the last fight I watched before this with Mike was that Roy Jones fight. I regretted watching every minute.
That was trash too. Yeah. But name the people that how you call it that he lost to. Exactly. We can't name the people he lost to. No. Like there was no way that. And Jake Paul, he plays the villain and whatever it is, like it was basically like a exhibition. That's what it was.
They drew us in though because they must have the views might have been low, and then they had Mike stage that smack the day before. Or whatever to generate more interest. Mike smacked him. So
everyone was told Mike gonna smack you.
Yeah, more people started getting hyped over it. Oh, Mike is serious.
Yeah. So, that was I have to say, could you imagine how would you have felt if that was on pay-per-view?
I've been pissed off. I paid because they'd have charged you $102.99 for that bullshit.
I wouldn't have paid for that. I wouldn't have paid that.
That place would have been packed. We might not have paid for it, but enthusiasts and people who like a thrill and be distracted would have paid $102.99 for that bullshit.
Oh yeah. To see Mike Tyson. Look, I
would have been mad, just like how people are mad about the election. It'd have been silence in that motherfucker after that.
So hold on a second, Rob. After the fight, did you hear Mike Tyson say that? They asked him if he was done. He was like, I don't know, maybe I'm fighting his brother. Like anything for money. Like that fight was not competitive. Mike don't need to fight nobody else. Like, why would we want to see Mike Tyson, who we all adore and think the world of, get hurt if somebody mess around and really hit him for real?
It's nostalgia, baby. It's on your shirt. People are still stuck in the 90s, bro.
You gotta figure legacy changed. Like it used to be like when we seen our fighters and champions, we wanted them never to lose. Like the Floyd Mayweather model, he was the last person that tried to preserve that undefeated. Now it's kind of like, okay, like, you know what? You lose some, you win some. Like legacy is not even a part of a lot of these guys' things.
But you know, hold on. We still. Who do we regard as the greatest fighter of all time? You know, Ali. Yeah, he got lost on his record. He
got lost on the record.
Well, and we still look at a legend. He did exhibition fights and called it just that. This is an exhibition fight, but we billing this as this going to be a real fight with Mike Tyson. The dude afterwards, what he said, I was in the hospital. I had ulcers or whatever he had going on. Like. So what's next? We gonna have Emmitt Smith suit up for the Cowboys or whatever. Lawrence Taylor for the Giants, and it's like enough is enough. Like
Deion Sanders, if Shador get drafted by Cowboys, I get you. Deion Sanders is gonna be on the sidelines.
As the coach, he better not be on the field. He got
Well, Deion Sanders, he'll be successful if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback out there. He might be able to cover anybody on that one.
Yeah.
But I just think about the Michael Jordan LeBron argument, right? Well, statistically, LeBron's played many more years, right? But when in your lifetime have you ever seen somebody lose more championships than win and get talked about as the greatest?
Yeah, all you gotta do is move to the dance, baby. That's it.
Yeah. Beth make a good point. She said she would pay to see him fight Joe Rogan. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, I like to see Joe Rogan get knocked out by anybody.
Pay for who? Mike Tyson to fight Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan. See, but this is the thing. I don't want to see. I want to see it in the context of a street fight, not a sanctioned.
Paying no pay-per-view.
A street fight. Like, because I think when rules aren't in play, I think Mike Tyson probably still could knock the average out.
Shit crack. Like
I don't know. Mike seemed like he might have I was trying to figure out if they didn't give him his meds for the training, and then before the fight they gave him his meds or something.
Smoke no weed. He's supposed to smoke some weed before that fight. He smoked no weed, bro.
That fight was trash. That fight was trash before we even saw it. People knew it was trash. People knew that fight was trash, and y'all got this man 58 years old. Could have got hurt, it's just that wasn't it. Like, come on, man.
What was the deal with chewing on the glove? They try to say I watched Mike fights and I ain't never seen him chewing on no glove like that no whole time.
Mike was probably dog tired, exhausted.
You heard the joke, he had a biting fixation and the guy was like, yeah, we know that or something like that.
The whole that whole production was straight trash. Like Roy Jones hating on him the whole night. Yeah. Oh, Mike hurting this, that away. Like all of it. I'm like, yo, come on.
Perez, like where they drag
Rosie Perez as an analyst, like
what? Oh my god.
Dude, wait, I got another thing about this too. Y'all watch this fight, go back and watch it over. Why did Mike Tyson have one bottle of water, one essential bottle of water the whole fight? He didn't have no water. I'm like, they're not even giving him water to drink. You know how usually they pour water on your head, your back, and your shorts. You watch the fight. Mike didn't get none of that stuff. It's like they went to Rite Aid before the fight, picked up a bottle of water, 1 liter of water, and we're gonna stretch this out. Jake Paul getting water squirted on him in his mouth, his shorts, his back, head. Mike sitting there dying on a stool, and they giving him like a cap full of water. I'm like, yeah, this dude ain't had a drink of water.
I guess you know what? But maybe they probably want to give him a bunch of water, figuring he'll tire out even faster.
Right.
But Come on. Usually when you watch these fights and you see somebody get hit, you be like, yo, their legs are gone. When Mike came out the dressing room and had on the knee,
his legs are gone.
Like, yeah, Mike's legs are gone.
Well, the dude was smart though, because they fought in like one of the biggest rings you could fight. Mike would have probably wanted like a 10-foot ring where they almost stand toe to toe.
See, the argument that people will make though is that for 20 million, I'll fight him or whatever. But
I heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, I fight him for 20 million. But I'm just saying, like, Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson, man. Like, and I know the IRS make people do some strange things, when you got a cash flow problem. But wasn't now we gonna have Mike showing up at bar mitzvahs?
Gonna be with
Mike Tyson. You see how Shaq, a photo booth after the fight.
You see how Shaq is everywhere, right? He gonna be
Mike Tyson, the DJ.
I mean, I just don't. Again, like, I don't want to see our legends, get to a point where they like, this is what I got to do. Like, imagine if Michael Jackson was still alive and Michael Jackson was hosting mixtapes, or Michael Jackson was still alive and Michael Jackson was doing
Mike really a residency.
Go down to Harlem Week. Michael Jackson gonna be performing at Harlem Week,
right, sir, in front of a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
Nah, no, he couldn't. Zane said Mike Tyson could afford Lennox Lewis or Holyfield to get a bigger fight. No, he couldn't. Those fans, majority of those fans, Jake Paul's following, like, casuals. That's the same reason why Ryan Garcia get get pay-per-view buys. Like, they're casuals, they're internet sensations or whatever. At this point, ain't nobody concerned about a Lennox Lewis versus Holyfield. Could barely string a sentence together. When they was talking to him, he was just there. Shout
out to my man D Holiday. He's watching. He got a good artist, man. We might want to
peace D Holiday.
Maybe his name is Doc on there on the video check. And shout out
to so I couldn't see a Lennox Lewis or Holyfield, and I think Tyson. I don't know if Holyfield actually proposed it and asked Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson was like, nah, he ain't interested, and he know, because it ain't gonna generate no revenue. Ain't nobody paying for that.
Not even close.
Yeah, nobody paying for that. I mean, Jake Paul got a following. Jake Paul got a following. You know who
she's doing.
Well, you know who would get the bag from him? Canelo. If Canelo was to fight him, Canelo
would talk about that, but
hundreds of millions.
Canelo would kill that dude.
Who's the dude that fought Mayweather? Irish cat wants to.
I know you're talking about
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, Conor McGregor.
He's looking to antagonize McGregor for the next bout now, bro.
Yeah, the dude is he fighting a whole bunch of people who not really fighters.
Yeah,
that's the criteria to get to fight for him, huh?
But he's winning.
I mean, how you call it? A lot of people.
He actually trains to fight, and he's fighting dudes that's double his age, that been past their prime.
The one professional boxer he fought outside of Mike Tyson, he lost to Tyson Fury's brother, Tommy Fury. He lost to Tommy Fury.
Yeah, he got his ass whooped.
Yeah, he lost to Tommy Fury, but I mean, he knocked out Nate Robinson. He probably knocked out Anderson Silva. He probably
59 or something.
He knocked out Reginald Vell Johnson.
You got a who's who of people that's nobody.
Shout out to Nate. Hopefully Nate got his kidney. Did Nate get his kidney yet, bro?
I don't know.
He was looking for.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Hopefully Nate gets his kidney soon, bro. Shout out to Nate. Yeah.
So let's hopefully, like our legends could be more protective with their legacy, and I understand if they do have to monetize their legacy, but let's not allow them to put themselves in positions where they harm themselves or potentially could lose their life for what? Social media, the butter social media jokes to have people come on and clown them and clown the fight.
And make memes. You become a meme.
Yeah, this is the world we live in. In case you all haven't been paying attention, in the Northeast, in the United States, there's been a massive drought, which is caused wildfires. It's impacting drinking water. The rain can't even remember. I think the last time that I recall it actually rained was during the World Series. I remember it had rained briefly during the game, but other than that, like, it's been so little rain that the drinking water reservoir is even extremely low. Like there's a major problem, and you see these brush fires popping up and everything as a result of it. I did see something on social media that I think a lot of people are saying that they believe, everything on social media is a conspiracy theory, that that people are setting these wildfires or these brush fires for environmentalist purposes, to promote that climate change is a real thing. And I always go back to when we talk about climate change, I always say, like, I remember being a kid and every year it snowed on Christmas, but now it's 70 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And it's November.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are as it relates to these wildfires and droughts that's going on.
I think if there are periods with how the weather just switches up. I think we're just in one of them periods where it's pretty hot in the Northeast when it would normally be cold. Shit, it might even be snowing by now, normally in the Northeast, because now here in the Southeast, it's cold like it is in the Northeast, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Temperature is pretty chilly to be down this way. So I don't know, man. It's a funny thing because right now, honestly, it could be 2 feet of snow out in Connecticut, New York. It could be snowing. It could be a lot of different things, and I really can't put my finger on it, Shy, to be honest with you. Other than if they up there messing with the weather machine, everyone in the Northeast, be careful because they're gonna turn it into California, and everybody got to bail out because it's still burning to this day.
Do y'all believe in climate change though?
I believe it is. I was looking at it the last time it actually rained up here and was more than like a quarter of an inch was September 28th. So that's kind of ridiculous. 6 weeks. You're talking about almost
when you see days. Climate change. What do you mean by climate change?
Meaning that just in general, like look at the read. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, look at the regions previously that used to be cool that are now hot regions. Look at regions that were once heated regions that are now cool, right? We've gone from where there once was a winter, where there were 4 seasons, to now everything pretty much blends together. Like how do we make the distinction between what constitutes winter? We pretty much got 2 seasons. Either it's really, really hot or it's, like this. It's not like, it's shifted drastically. Well, and I don't know.
From an environmental standpoint, there's so much going on the planet. I mean, industrially, all these carbon, all this carbon going in the air, and how the air, affects the planet in that way. I think maybe have something to do with it. I mean, we're all in this one globe, so shit don't just evaporate in the atmosphere. As what goes up comes down. So it has a part in there. Zane says Heart may have a big hand in it too, for the purpose of whatever purpose is going on. That's what I'm saying. Pay close attention to what happens in the Northeast. With it being so warm and knowing areas like the Northeast, which would normally be cold, why if all of a sudden you get fires? Like, is someone out there still burning wood? Niggas out there still having barbecues? Like, what's starting these fires that don't get started in the Northeast? You know what I mean? So that's an anomaly in itself. If this was California, I would say, all right, they trying to maybe smoke out some foreign immigrants or migrants that have skated up into the mountains in California, and we smoked them out. But Connecticut, Massachusetts, Canada, Vermont, these areas don't, they usually don't get no fire. Even if there is an elongated summer, so to speak, we don't talk wildfires in the Northeast. So be mindful of why there is wildfires in the Northeast.
You got ones popping up every day like this. They actually have one.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, it's different ones. I was surprised. They actually have one in New York City pop up like today. Well, in the inward section up there.
Wasn't there one in the Bronx?
Yeah. They had a wildfire start up there. So it is very different. But if you like you're talking about the environment and stuff, one of the things that actually happened is during the pandemic, when people couldn't be outside and they couldn't have all the cars and stuff, they said the environment had improved so much during that time. Whatever, I guess we kind of come back, we double down. Like there's a thought process that if we actually took 2 weeks off on the planet per year, that we could probably reverse some of the things that people are saying are happening to the planet just by not driving for 2 weeks. So everybody staying home.
I don't know if it was true or if it was altered, but did you guys see the pictures during the pandemic of Venice and what the water in Venice like or whatever? Like, and I've been to Venice. It don't look like that.
In Dubai, snowing out in the desert, like.
Well, yo, when I was in Dubai, it poured. Like I hadn't seen rain like that, and the last time I seen rain like that, I was a kid. Remember Diana Ross was at concert in the Central Park, her wig was it rained and it rained and it rained and it rained, and literally the next day when I got up and I looked outside, like cars were underwater in Dubai. You wouldn't expect that in Dubai.
No.
Yeah. And and there were people saying like, well, they were seeding the clouds or what. I don't know what it is. It could possibly be that, or it could just be, I don't know. We don't know what's going on with the environment. I think the environment is a tough sell.
What people don't know, they don't know because they're not in the privy to find out these things. And those who can put things together like this, they know most people don't know. They just know that we're gonna react to it. Wildfire. Oh shit, we gotta go. That's it. They ain't gonna act where it came from or how it started.
Well, the environment is a tough sell for people too. Like when you start talking about the long-term effects of what could happen to the environment, because most people are like, are they concerned? Sadly, a lot of people are concerned what's going to happen 100 years from now. They're like, I ain't gonna be around for it, and they're not thinking about their kids or any of that. They're just thinking about like what's in front of them now. Hence the reason why we were talking earlier about like the manufacturing of automobiles and the mandate around this whole thing around 2025, we want to stop manufacturing gas cars and go all electric or whatever. Like that was a play to try to say in terms of cleaning up or helping the environment. But I just don't see that going through now. I think that mandate is going to be removed, and it's going to be, like if you want to continue to manufacture cars that run on gas, like even in New York City now, they put congestion pricing in place. That congestion plan is going to go through, and they're framing it as, well, this will help get less cars off the road. No, it's not. It's going to help New York City build and get more revenue. That's what it's about. They want to make more revenue, because the reality of it is that people are still going to drive in the city. Now, will you get some people that may be like, you know what, I'm going to take public transportation? Either way you look at it, New York City is going to win, because either they're going to get your money from the congestion planning or they're going to get your money from the public transportation getting in. But I would be surprised, and I'm sure they've done all kind of studies that probably speak to how they could reduce emissions and how to be helpful for the environment. But I would be surprised if it would be anything substantial in terms of helping the the environment. It's a cash play.
I can see the public transportation going up too. So if they know that you're gonna pay this and you can't pay that, they're gonna raise the price of public transportation because they kind of got you on how to rock in a hard place.
You pigeonhole. I don't know when the last time either one of you have actually driven in the city, but it's very apparent that now in the city, like they really want to generate revenue. Like
have you gone past 59th Street?
There's no, I'm not even talking about going like actually even if you go to the boroughs, like there's cameras every couple of blocks to try to get people for the speeding tickets. There's cameras in the bus lanes to try to get people for the tickets for the bus lanes. Like they're all about trying to generate revenue, and they're trying to present it in the form or fashion of like, well, we want to try to prevent like the accidents that was happening, like hit and runs and vehicular homicides and stuff like that.
And the congestion,
but it really ain't about that. It's that they found a way to generate revenue, and they probably making money because now you don't have to have police officers out on the beat actually ticketing people. You just have the cameras in place to catch people committing these traffic infractions. I think the other thing about it is that there was a whole push for them to turn those cameras off at a certain time, and I feel like they may have won out to let the cameras be 24 hours. At one point, wasn't the camera supposed to go off at like 9 o'clock or something? It's supposed
to be something around, like they said, school hours, or they were trying to say something like around that, and it just stayed on because people started using the cameras, actually getting leverage for stuff outside of speeding too. So they leverage
100% surveillance, brother. That's
yeah,
all.
they leveraging the cameras for that stuff too.
Well,
And when you look at it, the funniest thing is they already have things on the internet on ways to try to circumvent the congestion pricing, like going through a parking lot on 60th Street and coming out on the other side. So they already have like ways and stuff that people are already trying to find to kind of escape the congestion pricing.
Drive $10 of gas out of your car to avoid paying the $9 toll. These are jokers. And I was bugging when the cost of the bridge went up. What's the cost of George Washington Bridge now?
With an easy pass, I think it's $17.
Yeah,
without easy pass, might be 18 and change or something.
That's a crazy toll, $18 toll.
It's going up.
About 2.5 million cars and trucks come through shit every day, bro.
You said it's going up?
Yeah, it's going up again. They said something, and probably by the first quarter of this year, it's going up again. That's going up. All the tolls in Garden State, the Turnpike, all that stuff's going up again.
That's crazy.
Well,
that's crazy, bro. As soon as you cross over to George Washington, you hit your first pothole. Boom!
Yo, you know how you can tell emissions is poor though? Those buildings right there. If you ever drive and you go over the bridge, just look at all the smog. They all smog stained from all the trucks going over and the cars going over. Any last words? Anything y'all want to close with?
Nah, bro. It's good to talk to you guys, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, good conversation. It's nice to have this conversation.
Yeah. Like I can start saying like it's been a while for those that watch us that we've actually had like an episode where we didn't have an artist, a producer, or somebody else, and it was just us talking about what's been going on in the world. So it was dope to have that conversation. If you have not streamed Nostalgia, No Ideas Original Volume 2, please go stream it. It's on all streaming platforms. Also, we have Nostalgia merch too. You see, I got the Nostalgia t-shirt on. We got Nostalgia hoodies. We got Nostalgia hats. Hit us in the DM. We'll hook you up. We we working. We trying to continue to grow the brand.
We get you, bro. Give us a size.
With that being said, everybody have a good night. Peace. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right.
Peace.